Hi, and welcome to episode 278 of Ask the iPad Man Live. Thank you very much for tuning in on this Tuesday night yet again. It's been a very busy day doing a wonderful double lesson in Nuttawading, and it's just been full of energy and hopefully lots of information shared and learnt. Obviously, rush home from the lesson. Quickly have something to eat and ready for your questions here. And in the comments, I asked for everyone to list the top 3 issues they have with iPad and iPhone or any other Apple product. And at this stage, nobody has listed 3 items. So I guess that's the end of the show. Looks like it must be, I'm going to get the night off. Time for me to go. Well, I'm here. So I'm waiting for your questions. You are tuning in live. It is live. Throw your questions in the comments right now and I will be answering them live. So I can see here that Brian, who's been at the lesson all day, well done. Hope you had a safe trip back. Obviously, it looks like you did. You're back home already. Brian, Trish, Vanessa, great to see you here. And I can see many others who are already here watching. Don't be shy. Now is the opportunity to throw those questions in the comments. And obviously, I'd appreciate if you can try and throw in your 3 biggest issues that you have with your Apple devices. Now, whilst I wait for you to come up with those top 3 things that you would like to learn, and I don't want you just to put one. Come on, I'm challenging you all. I'm here for you. Please put in the top 3 items that you would like to know about either the iPad, the iPhone, the Mac, the Apple Watch. Let's keep it Apple. Let's stay away from Windows and iCloud for PC. Let's keep this focused on Apple. Throw that into the comments right now. Whilst I wait for you to do that, I will jump over to what is going to be something I'm going to introduce to lessons in the future. If it loads, hopefully it does here. Colin's tip of the week. And this is something that I think many of us overlook, just the power of these features. We forget that they even exist. And today's or this week's tip of the week is to do with gestures. Yes, gestures. When using our devices, I am constantly seeing people scroll through hunting for the answers and hunting to or scrolling to move through time on the devices, from the newest photos to the oldest photos, or whether it be new email, old email, whether it be on a website, if you're at the bottom of the website to the top of the website. And let me try and just eliminate a little bit of glare from my glasses. I'm going to throw my computer into dark mode if it will let me. So let me throw it in dark mode so I have less white from my screen reflecting onto my eyes. Let's see, how did that go? So hopefully that has improved to stop that reflection coming off me until I get my new glasses replaced from the theft. So I have been into the optometrist. I've had the eyes retested. I'm waiting for those new glasses to come in. So now let's get back to the tip of the week, being gestures. So what do I mean by gestures? So this happens whenever we are, let's say, on a website and we scroll down to the bottom of the website. Oh, this one's quite a short website. And if we want to go to the top, we are scrolling our finger back through, and often it's in this small space, especially if we get some of these warnings that pop up for the cookies that the European Union has kind of forced on the world. But what you can do is take your finger and see how my mouse cursor here, it's kind of half off the screen, half on the screen. Well, if you touch up there, it will take you all the way back to the top. So that's super fast. We've scrolled down to the end of the page. We want to get back up to the top. You just touch with your finger half on the screen, half on the border of your iPad or iPhone, and you will jump straight back to the top of the page. This is particularly useful if we're in the photo stage. So let's say here I've got the photos of the ducks returning to the vacant lot just a few doors up from where we're staying today, and that's taken at 5:20. Now I want to get back to my oldest photo. Here we're down in 2024. How do I get back to my oldest photo? Again, I just touch up the top here, half on the screen, half on the edge, and look at that. I zip all the way back in time to the first photos. Now, in this case, they actually have the incorrect date of the 1st of January, 1970. And that does mean that I have to correct those dates. But I was able to move from the newest photos to the oldest photos very quickly. And I can see here that there's these particular photos that I've got to change the date on from here onwards, because here is me as a little baby. Okay, so this is back to 1970. Where did that blonde hair go? Yeah, still looking there saying, I know how to use an iPad. I just didn't have the words yet to tell anybody. Okay, so I've gone from the newest photo to the oldest by putting my finger on the top border. Now, equally, if I want to get down to my newest photo, a lot of people will scroll through. Or you can just touch on the word library and bingo, you are all the way back to the newest photo. So again, I touch at the top. I'm now at the top all the way back to my oldest photo. I touch on library and I'm all the way back down to the bottom to the newest. Let me show you that in months. Okay, so I touch library and it brings me back here. This is March 2024. I touch up the top and it goes all the way to January 1970. I touch on library, down it comes to March 24. So two really quick ways to get from the bottom to the top. And that is the same when you're looking at an email and you've gone through your emails, you're down the bottom of the email and you want to get to the top of the email. All you need to do, touch your finger on that top edge. Bingo, you're back up to the top. You don't have to scroll through. So these gestures that we have are quite fantastic. And if we need to move from app to app, we can start with our finger again, halfway from the bottom. I actually start from the bottom border and come upwards. I probably need to do this with my finger rather than the mouse. And when I do that, I can get to all of my most recent apps and quickly move between them. So often people close the app they're in, so they go back to home screen and then go hunting for the app they're looking for, rather than just moving our finger upwards a little bit and bringing up the most recent apps to quickly spin between them. Now I've got Lynn asking off this, how do I add the floating mouse to my iPad screen? Well, that's because I'm using a mouse with my iPad. And for most of you, you don't need to do this. In fact, for me, the only time I ever do this is to give these lessons so that you can see a clear picture of the screen and see where my finger would be. Okay, because in reality, to use the mouse with the iPad, I think defeats the purpose of how good the iPad is. But if you did want to connect a mouse to your iPad, and again, I'd really love to know, Lynn, why you would like to have that, then you would go to your settings app here and you would go to Bluetooth. And here, like here, my mouse is called a Logitech MX Master 3S, and you can see it's connected. And that's because I've held a button on the bottom of the mouse to pair it, and now it's paired. And then what I do is that I put my device, I go to accessibility, and I put it in a special mode under touch here, which is called assistive touch. Now, when you have assistive touch, you get this big circle coming up on the screen, and now I'm using the mouse with the iPad. But again, I really don't think you need to use a mouse with your device. I only use it so that I can do these demos for you and you can understand where I am, rather than just saying where, just take a look in the top left and you don't know necessarily what I'm talking about. So, I mean, if you would rather have my finger here, then this is where I need to get a camera mounted above. I've got to have extra light. I've got to hope that it focuses correctly. Sometimes it will be blurry. So I hope you all find that this circle on the screen equally as good as seeing my finger on the screen. Let me know in the comments if you like to see this circle, if you understand what that circle means, as against having my finger, which could potentially block the group here. And Lynn's comment was to assist when teaching my group. So that's specifically like what I'm doing. Then that's what this would be perfect for you, Lynn, because you can have the iPad on a bigger screen or on the, like I have here in this lesson, and then be taking advantage of the mouse moving wherever I'm moving that mouse, that cursor's moving, and everyone who's watching can follow what is going on. So that's just one small gesture that helps you navigate, and whether that be in email, if you're at the bottom of a big long list, you could be at the bottom of 7,000 emails down here and you need to get to the top, you touch the top edge and it zips all the way back to the top again. So in email, in Safari, in photos, in plenty of places, you've got that ability to just touch your finger at the top and get back to the top. So hopefully that's given you enough time to start throwing some questions my way. Let's see how you've gone. Now I'm going to start with the ones that have the triple Q first, triple Q, and it looks like we have a reasonable amount to see what's going on. Now let's get to my keynote. So I should have a nice big blank screen to throw the questions on. So Trish's question is, oh, and that is tiny. We need to make that a bit bigger. How does a member who is not on Facebook able to watch the episodes online school and get your message? Well, unfortunately, watching live, well, actually tonight, this show that is live is also being broadcast on YouTube. So if you're not on Facebook, you can actually watch it on YouTube. Normally, I would have an email that goes out with those links, but I didn't get back from my lesson today until I think it was 5:30 or 6 o'clock. So it's just been a mad rush even to make it live. I hadn't eaten during the day. I've just had time to have some dinner and jump on live here. So normally you'll get a link that says watch on Facebook as a minimum, and then the replay will go up the next day on the online school, or watch on YouTube when I have enough bandwidth. So where I am now, where I'm staying here, the people who we're looking after their home, they're computer scientists and they've got a great setup in the studio here, and they have great internet, and I'm able to broadcast to 2 locations at once. But sometimes I can't. Sometimes the internet's just barely good enough to send it to one place. And I noticed Chris was saying that I was freezing on one of the devices, and sometimes that can happen when the internet is pretty low. So it all depends on the type of connection that I have. So next question is from Gregson, who says, how do I open TrackBack on the Watch Series 9, please? So TrackBack, I'm actually going to be unable to show you at no notice because I haven't been tracking my location to be able to demonstrate the TrackBack. So what I'll do during the week is I will go for a walk with the tracking on. So what you actually need to have happen is you need to be in a workout mode, going for a walk, and starting the TrackBack mode, and it will plot spots for you on that walk, and then you're able to bring it back to show your way back out. So this is really useful if you're going on a bushwalk and you don't have internet, but you've still got the ability to track your GPS position on a little map that can help you find your way back out in case you're going into bush that's where there is no cellular coverage, or you might get lost. You take a turn, you don't know where you are, and you need to get out. You can actually track back the places that you've been. Now, this is meant to work without you starting a workout. Every review that I have seen, and I've only tested this a few times because I haven't been bushwalking in places that are unfamiliar to me. The reviews that I have seen, the TrackBack has always worked better once you have started logging your walk, rather than it just relying on it working. It doesn't seem to collect as many waypoints when you haven't started the exercise, but I'll get some more feedback for you, Gregson, on that. And Lorraine says, can you set your alarm to go off at the same time every day rather than turning it off and remembered? Yeah, it should. It should be on. You should be able to set it every day. What I do for my alarm is that I actually use the bedtime function within the phone, so I get a nice gentle ascending alarm. So let's jump to the iPhone so I can show you that. And that is, you come into, let's go to clock, there's clock. And here you can see at the top, I have a sleep wake up, and at the moment it says no alarm. So if I hit change, I can say that I would like to get, you can base this on, how many hours sleep you're trying to get. So if I'm trying to get 7.5 hours sleep, which seems to be about my norm, and that's saying that I need to be in bed by 10 and the alarm will go off at 5:30, I turn that on. And what I love about this, it has this sound, which I'm not sure it's going to come through. I'm going to just quickly see if there's a way it will do it. It may not, because Apple kind of blocks the privacy. Let's see. How we go. I'll unmute it and let me know if this plays. Well, I can hear it coming through my phone. It might not be coming through the system, but you should hear it through the microphone. And so what I love about this is that it actually starts at a lower volume and then gets louder and louder. Rather than being this blaring alarm, it's a gentle, you can hear it starting to get louder and louder, and then it will step up and go even louder again. Okay, now it's getting quite piercing. I'll probably breach some copyright for doing that. But having said that, that will happen every day. When I stop the alarm, it will still be reset for the following day. And I better leave that on because I'm flying from Melbourne to the sunny coast tomorrow and I'll need to get up early. Now for me, I choose not to set a snooze. You could turn snooze on and that allows you to do that traditional 9-minute snooze. For me, I just want to make sure I get up. And so I put it here. Now that sound you can also adjust. You can have it really low, start really low, or you can have it start quite loud. Like I have it start about here, and then it will go up the longer I leave it. So after a few minutes, it does get quite loud. And so I'm going to say, change this schedule. And that's it. It now remembers that for every day at 5:30. But otherwise you can set alarms here in that alarm section. And when the alarm goes off, you're just stopping the alarm. You're not turning the alarm off. You just stop the alarm. and then it will be reset again for the next day. But thank you for the question. Trish says, Randall's iPad is going to sleep very quickly. What setting do I need to check to extend the time before the screen goes blank? Okay, and I do this for every lesson so that my screens stay on for you. So let's take a look at what I do. I'll jump to my iPad and let's flick the mouse to the iPad. I come down here to settings, and I'd like for all of you to check this. Settings, then display and brightness, and then auto lock. Now mine is on never, but it is only on never because I'm doing this show. And I don't want this iPad to go off whilst I'm talking to you and then I come back and that iPad is closed down. I don't recommend that you have this on never at, for really any time. Even if you're in the kitchen and you're cooking a recipe, it would be best just to leave it on 15 minutes in case you forgot. But for most people, it only needs to be on 2 minutes and probably at the most 5. And I know some of you still put it on 10. But at 5 minutes, that means that's 5 minutes that you have not touched the screen, except when a video is playing. So if you're watching this video or a YouTube video or a movie, it will keep playing that movie and it won't keep disappearing after 5 minutes. It will stay on and play. But for anything that's not a movie, if you haven't touched the screen after 5 minutes, it goes off. That means your battery is going to last a long time. It means your battery, the iPad's battery in a day lasts longer. It means your battery for the iPad in its life lasts longer. It increases your resale value if you have the auto lock short, okay? Because if you put it on 15 minutes, there could be many times a day where you just use it for 1 minute and then it stays on for 15 minutes before turning off. That happens 4 times in a day. That's an hour that your iPad was on that it didn't need to be. And over the course of years, that means you've just reduced your iPad's longevity, its battery. You could reduce that battery by a year or 2. So please, on the iPad, 5 minutes at the most. I'd recommend 2. And then for the phone, you have to do that one separately. And for the phone, I recommend, because we want this phone to last all day as a phone. After all, it's called an iPhone, so hopefully we're making calls. But often we're using this as a camera and doing other things. Again, I have this on never. Please never, ever, ever do this. I only have it on here for this show. Otherwise, I have it on 30 seconds, very, very occasionally 1 minute. But 30 seconds, if I haven't touched the screen in 30 seconds, I'm no longer interacting with this device and it shuts down. But please don't have 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes on your phone. That's where you get pocket dials and your battery running out way beforehand. So 30 seconds or 1 minute. Don't do what I'm doing here. That's only for this show. So thank you very much for the question, Trish. Janet asks, do I need to click on the link to update my Big Pond account, or is this a scam? Thanks. Now, I can't actually see if there has been a comment or an image with that. So if there has, Janet, I will have to go in. Let's see if I can spot it through my iPad. I'll go to Facebook just to see if there's an image attached to this to give me some context. So let's log in. Oh, and here we go. I need to do my Touch ID to go in, log in, and then I need my login code. So just bear with me as I do that and log in. My code's been done. And let's take a look and see if there's a question, because often there is, these are scams, a bit disrespectful when it comes to those type of things. So let's see if the comment has the image. I can't see it on the screen. I'm going to have to come back to that. I tried, but I'll move on, Janet, and I'll see if I can answer that afterwards. Lorraine's got a follow-up and says, went before I finished, as sometimes I forgot to reset. The alarm, instead of turning off every day, went off before I finished. With the alarm, you should be able to just stop it and it will be ready for the next day. But if you use that wake up alarm, I think it's a better alarm anyway because it starts slower and builds up. But if I've got anything out of context, please let me know. Pamela says, I get notifications and sound alerts for messages on my iPhone, iPad, and Apple Watch from all contacts except one grandson. I always have to check if he has answered me. Any suggestions? Well, yes, you could actually go into that contact and see if you have assigned a different ringtone to that person. So I'm going to very quickly see if this shows up under my contact now hopefully I am back live again. Yes, it looks like it. So I just got an error that has come up saying that this had stopped working. But anyway, let's say that, I'll just cover that again. So from your grandson's contact, hit edit, and then scroll up and look for ringtone, and you can go and choose a different ringtone. You could make it something that's a bit louder or a bit longer. You could make it a song. And again, here for text tone, we could go through and select a different text tone. Whoops, let's make sure I do that right. I touch on mine, hit edit. Text tone at the moment is default. Well, let's see, you might have changed it to something else. You might have changed it to none accidentally. Okay, so it could be here saying text sound none or ringtone none. Come in here and change it to something that is really noisy or different and see if that solves the problem. Because right now, let's go droplet. Oh, you must hit done. And there we go. So now I've got the sound being droplet. So you can actually set for all of your contacts. Well, you wouldn't do it for all of your contacts, but let's say you've got your spouse or your child and you've got a favorite song that you share with them, or you just want to have a different tone to identify when your kids are sending you a message versus somebody else. So you can actually have a different ringtone and a different message tone. And so without you even seeing your phone, you can hear, oh, that's my kids calling because that ringtone is different to my normal ringtone, or that message tone is different to my normal message tone. So really powerful. Let me know in the comments if you've set that up, or perhaps now after seeing that, if you think you might set that up, because to me, it is a wonderful feature to be able to set a different sound for those contacts that are close to me. I don't do it for most people. So most people, when they ring, it's just the normal ringtone. But for immediate family, I can have a different ringtone that is alerting me to a specific person who's calling. Okay, great to see that all of the questions came out of the woodwork here. So that is just wonderful. Jennifer asked, bought a new iPhone. How do I get face recognition on to open up phone rather than password all the time? It works when I'm in apps. Any help, please? Okay, so Jennifer, this will be one switch that you need to do. So I'll jump here to the iPhone, come to settings, here under settings, and I'll hit back and back to settings. And what I'm looking for is Face ID and passcode. Here it is. Touch on that. I'll enter my code, which beautifully Apple is hiding on the screen. Oh, did I get it wrong? I did. Okay, and so you've probably got this top button turned off. You've got the iTunes and App Store turned on, probably the Apple Wallet turned on, maybe potentially even the password's turned on and the iPhone unlock is turned off. And that's why it's asking you for your passcode rather than Face ID. Specifically because you're telling me that it's working in the apps, but not when you want to unlock. So that's how you get it to work when you want your device to unlock with your face. And please tell me, everybody, that you are using your fingerprint and face, and that you've all got a passcode. Hopefully, I did a talk recently, and there were still people in the audience who did not have a passcode on their iPhone. Please let me know that you have a passcode, because it is the first barrier. But then if you do have Face ID, are you using it? Because it is absolutely the best way to unlock your devices. Let's get to the questions here. Denise says, is there a way to get to the bottom of your list of emails without scrolling? And the answer to that is no, not to my knowledge. So if I go to my iPad here and I try and click down the bottom, it doesn't go to the bottom of the list. If I try and click halfway here, it doesn't go to the bottom of the list. There's no fast way except for spinning really fast where you could push it. But here I've got it in the one that's got thousands and thousands of emails, so that's not going to work. I'll just touch up the top here. I get back to the top, but I have not found a way to get to the bottom of the emails at all. If someone else has managed to find a way, please let me know. I just do not know of a way to do it. So thank you for the question, Denise, but I don't know how. I don't think it is possible. Chris asked, is TrackBack available on all Apple Watch series? No, it's not. It is only available on the Series 9 and the Ultra watches. It's not available on the earlier models, and that's simply because its battery consumption is really, really high, and the chips that are in the previous models, like each year, Apple's chips use a little less power than the year before. That makes that same size battery last longer. When you're doing TrackBack, it's got to be plotting that GPS location a lot, using a lot of battery, and there's no point having it track back if it would run out of battery before you got home, especially if you're trying to make an emergency call to say I'm lost. So TrackBack is only available on the Series 9 and the Ultra. Oh, great question, Jerry. Should we close all apps in the switcher to save memory space? So what does Jerry mean? This is where you take your finger and you swipe up and you get all of these apps on the screen. Should you be flicking upwards and closing all of these apps? Okay, so that's by going here and flicking upwards and close all of these apps. Before I give the answer, let me know in the comments. So just write, I flick up, or no, I don't. Okay, flick up. Are you a person who flicks up to close all of your apps? Maybe just write close all, flick up, not sure, either way. Or do you just leave it alone? Okay, so the answer to this question, Jerry, is you should not close the apps. The vice president of Apple software, who's the second most powerful person or third most powerful person in Apple, has unequivocally, on the record since 2015, yes, 9 years now, told everybody that you should not be force quitting apps by flicking up on the screen. So when you do this, you make your device use more memory, more battery, and you're wasting life. You're just wasting time. Every time you force quit, the app could be halfway through doing something. So let's say you've taken some photos and those photos are now updating to iCloud, so they synchronize across all of your devices, that wonderful thing that Apple does to keep everything flowing smoothly. And you force quit photos. You've just stopped it from syncing. Or you're using maps and you force quit maps. Now it's not getting navigation anymore. You're listening to music, you force quit music. We can't hear the music anymore. Force quitting is, Apple is really, really efficient at memory and they're really efficient at power. We don't need to do this. The thing that uses the most power when using our devices is when our finger is touching the screen. So as we touch the screen, the energy needed, the screen is on, our fingers moving things through, and that is using a lot of energy. It's using a lot of power. And so you're flicking up, flicking up, flicking up, flicking up, you're using power. It also means when you go to reopen the app that it has to start from scratch. Much like a fluorescent light. When a fluorescent light is left on, it's using a little bit of power. When you turn the fluorescent light on initially, it needs a big push of power to get going. And that's the same with apps. So no, you do not need to force quit it. The only time you would force quit is when Denise has made a comment here saying, so how do you force quit an app if it freezes? Well, if the app freezes, that's a legitimate reason to slide up and force quit it, but only if it's frozen. So if you're watching me here on Facebook and it freezes, flick the Facebook app up and then restart Facebook, and hopefully that fixes that frozen app. But that's the only time that you need to do it. You don't do it when your apps are working normally. You only need to close an app or force quit an app if it's not behaving properly, if it's frozen, if something has gone wrong. So thank you for the question, Jerry, and for the follow-up, Denise. Lynn has asked, is the verification code available in Facebook settings or do you use an authenticator? No, I use an authenticator, but the authenticator I use is built into Apple's keychain. So I don't believe I can show this to you for two reasons. One is privacy. I do not want to have my Facebook account hacked to show you this. I'm just going to quickly call it up to see. It's too dangerous for me to show up. Let's see if I can find another way here to show it to you. Let's see if I have a demo account on this device. I may have. So let me just see if I've got a Facebook demo. No, I don't. Okay, so when you actually, there we go. I'll get this bit of privacy. So when you get into your passwords, and let's say this is my Facebook password section, I would need to go into Facebook settings and say turn on two-factor authentication, and then I can set up a verification code here, not in a third-party app, but right here within Facebook. Okay, and then I can hit scan QR code, scan the code that Facebook generates, and now it's actually built into the password section of my iPad. And that means that when Facebook asks me for my password, I can do my fingerprint, or if I'm on my phone, it would be my face. And then when it asks for that code, I just do my fingerprint again, and it automatically fills in the code for me. I love it. So for Facebook, I've set up that two-factor authentication not in a third-party app like LastPass Authenticator or Google Authenticator or Microsoft Authenticator. I've actually set it up in the settings of my iPad under passwords, under the password itself, and I've set up the verification code within that one section. And that just means fingerprint or face. No having to copy and paste, no having to write it down or remember it and type it out. I just use my fingerprint. So it is really wild to be able to do that two-factor just with my fingerprint again. So it's pretty awesome. John's asked, hi, I never can never watch on Facebook. Will not download, no trouble on YouTube. My internet is excellent and runs around 100 down, 30, 40. So I can never watch on Facebook. Yeah, I mean, on both, this show is being broadcast today on both Facebook and YouTube. But if I don't have a lot of connection, I will only do it on Facebook, just simply because that's where the biggest audience is. And if I look at all of your questions that have come through so far, every last question has been delivered through Facebook and not through YouTube. So I'll continue to do that. And so John, your end, that's brilliant. You've got 100 download and 30 to 40 to upload. But sometimes as we are house sitting our way around Australia, we'll land in a place that only has 6 as an upload. And I need 5.9 per channel I broadcast to. So if I'm going to go to Facebook and YouTube, then I need 11.8 as the broadcast, the up link. So if I don't have 12 or better, then I'll only ever broadcast to the one channel, which will be Facebook. Janet says she sent me an email of the message that she's gotten through. So let's take a look. Okay, instantly I can tell this is a scam. So here's my iPad. Big Pond never uses those 2 colors, and this to me already looks like a scam. Click here to update, do not reply. Yeah, so everything about this screams scam at me. What I would need to see is the email address up the top here where it says from. We could touch on that and see who's actually sent this. But my instant gut feeling is that this is an absolute lie. Couple of reasons. Your Big Pond's still working, and this says today, March the 14th. Okay, so it's still working. It's not the 19th today. So they lied. Definitely a scam. Don't click that link. Okay, thank you for sending through the email. There's always a way. I'm loving the resourcefulness of my audience. Well done. Diddy asks, can you have more than one fingerprint set on your iPad? My husband and I both use the iPad. Absolutely, you can. So when you go to your iPad's settings here and you, I just need to do my, oops, let's go to Touch ID and passcode. So I can touch here. I'll enter my code. I have to enter my code when getting access. And look, I've got finger 1, finger 2, finger 3. So normally I've got left index, right index, and possibly even the thumb. And so I'd recommend that for both you and your husband, you both have your left and right index, because depending on how you're holding the iPad as to where that button will be. And all you need to do is hit add fingerprint. And now I can use, say, my middle finger on the left, and I can add another finger. It's telling me to completely cover the button. And maybe it's because, yeah, whenever you're trying to do something live, it's always slower, isn't it? Okay, capture all of your fingerprint. Now it's just doing the edges, boom, boom, boom. And normally what I do, I haven't done it here, which isn't normal. Those of you that have seen me do this before would know that normally I would then go to this finger and I'd give it the name and say left middle finger. And that way I just know that that's my fingerprint. But that way, you know, your husband and yourself can both use the convenience of fingerprint on that iPad. So it can actually do 5 fingerprints tops, but with face, it can only do the one. If you try and do 2 faces, it will get totally messed up. So fingerprint, we can do the up to 5 fingerprints, but face, we can only do 1. Okay. And Lynn has said, have I completed the travel guide yet? No, I've gotten 2 new bits of information. I actually demonstrated one today to the customers who came to Nuttawading. It's gotten bigger and bigger as I keep adding bits into it. The latest technology changes in eSIMs is quite phenomenal. So that's the last piece of the component I'm putting into the travel guide. I'm flying off to Sydney tomorrow. So hopefully by the time I'm on the airplane and at the airport, I've landed and added those last bits to that travel guide. It's become it's like the Pandora's box. You open it and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. So I'll make sure that that is done because I'm excited to release that. I think it's I wish that I had done it before I traveled myself. I probably would have saved $450 odd by using it. And I've actually gone and changed my device now to have, it only has an eSIM. My phone does not have a SIM card inside it at all. Now it just is working with an eSIM, which is how I had it many, many years ago. Okay, another question has come through again. This one's from Diddy. Can I add my ambulance card to my phone? I'm not sure what your ambulance card is, Diddy. You perhaps could add it to an app. And hopefully I am back again. So Stow Card is an app that is really, really good for loyalty cards, but it's not pre-programmed with the ambulance card as it gets a bit dark in here. So it's like it's almost a message saying it's time for this lesson to finish. Let's see if I can get this light balanced. There we go. So hopefully I've still got some light on me. Okay, so I've got a cable plugged in. Why is that not working? Let's see if I can get that running again. Okay, so how are we going for time? I think we have gotten through a lot of questions. That hour has flown by. I'm not sure if if anyone's asked a question without the triple Qs. I'm just going to have a quick look to see if I've missed any here. And I will ask you now to please put in the comment section the top 3 things that you would like to learn about any of your devices over the next month. Because obviously I'm here to help you. Getting the questions here each week is absolutely wonderful, but I'd like to juggle some of the upcoming courses I've releasing and also adjust them to what is the most popular topics that you also want to learn about. So please, I can see there's plenty of you watching tonight. Can you all just put in the top 3 things that you would like to learn over the next month? Throw that in the comments. And in fact, I'm going to pick one of the people who lists 3 items to get a personal one-on-one lesson with me. Obviously, it'll be remotely. It'll be kind of, you know, through Zoom or something like that. But to win that, you need to leave a comment with the top 3 things that you would like to learn in the next month. So please don't sit back and wait for other people to ask. I'm here for you, but I do need you to contribute as well. So please think of those things. Write 1, 2, 3. Write those 3 things you would like to learn about, and it can be anything Apple, Apple TV, Apple Watch, Apple Pencil, Apple AirPods, the iPhone, the iPad, the Mac, anything that is an Apple product, please throw it in the comments. It could be, about the iCloud. It could be about an app, a particular app. And with the apps, it doesn't necessarily need to be an Apple app, as long as the app obviously is in the App Store. It's not one that's on a third-party site that we have to load on. I'd like apps that are in the App Store only, because that's the way to keep you safe. Put that in the comments section. So apart from the 3 things you'd like to learn, what has been the number 1 tip you've picked up tonight? Okay, so again, top 3. If you'd only put 1, don't go into the draw. The top 3 things that you'd like to learn about in the next month, please put that in the comments. If not right now, put it in just after the show has finished. Okay, I can see there's quite a lot of you watching, and yet I can't see any 1, 2, 3s yet. So that's kind of like we've got enough questions answered. We don't need any more from you. I want to be here for you. Please put those tips or put those issues or questions in the comment section now to help me generate more content for you. Okay, thank you very much for tuning in. It's time for me to go grab a glass of water and retire. For those of you I'm coming to visit on the sunny coast in the next few days, look forward to seeing you. Otherwise, I'll see you all back for the next show in a couple of weeks. Okay, keep those comments coming. 1, 2, 3. See you soon. Bye.